This works. Natural mosquito repellent made from American Beautyberry leaves keeps mosquitoes away. I purposefully went to the most mosquito-ridden part of my property, especially after a good rain like we had this last week, and they're everywhere. But I'm not getting a single bite. So I've been growing American Beautyberry here for 3 years in San Antonio, but it wasn't until I read the USDA research that I realized I had a natural pesticide growing in my yard. USDA researchers found that compounds in these leaves, especially calicarpenol, are more effective than DEET at repelling mosquitoes and ticks. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the plant, the science, how to make your own repellent, and why this could save you hundreds on pest control. But first, let me show you what makes this plant so special. These are American Beautyberries, Calicarpa americana, native to Texas in the southeast. These berries look so bright, they almost look fake. But they're genuinely distinctive. They cluster directly around the stem of the American Beautyberry plant in these perfect little bundles, and birds go crazy for them. I prune mine back by about 1/3 each winter so they stay manageable, but I've seen mature specimens spread to be about 8 feet wide. These plants can get massive in the right conditions and if you let them. And while beautiful and interesting, it's not the berries that tell the real story, it's actually the leaves. They hold the secret. And that distinctive scent, when you start to crush it up, that's actually calicarpenol and other compounds that mosquitoes absolutely hate. So traditional uses for the American Beautyberry included rubbing the leaves on your skin or clothing to repel insects, as well as stacking these in saddles attached to mules and horses. But now USDA research has identified the specific compounds that make this plant effective. So I've been testing the traditional method of just crushing the leaves and rubbing them on my skin. And honestly, I think it works. There's no harsh chemicals, there's no DEET smell here, there's no synthetic ingredients. A bottle of premium natural mosquito repellent could cost you $15 to $20. But this plant here produces hundreds of applications worth of leaves, right? And unlike DEET, which can dissolve plastic and has severe safety warnings, this is just crushed plant material used safely for generations. So let's talk about making your own repellent. So there's the simple method, of course, where you can just crush fresh beautyberry leaves and rub them on your exposed skin. That could be effective for maybe 2 to 3 hours. It's perfect for quick garden work or stepping outside. No preparation really needed. But this recipe here is thanks to my friend Monica and her book, Plants with Purpose. Get yourself a copy if you haven't already. She mentioned that she adapted this recipe for American Beautyberry mosquito repellent from Pepper Garden's nursery. So here's what you need. First, you're gonna need a cup of crushed beautyberry leaves. These are just freshly harvested, so we still need to crush them. And then we will need 4 ounces of rubbing alcohol. That's about a half a cup. And then ultimately a small spray bottle, which I have here. So first, of course, you want to go ahead and harvest your leaves. Take no more than 1/3 from any single branch to keep the plant healthy. Make sure to choose your younger, undamaged leaves really for the best results. Next, we crush. We can place our leaves in a mason jar. You can harvest them directly into it, and you want to crush them thoroughly. So you can use a wooden spoon or a muddler, which I have here. You really want to break these leaves up to make sure that we release the oils and compounds to the extent that we can before pouring the rubbing alcohol over them. So you just crush them like so. Spend some good amount of time doing this, of course. As you start to do that, of course, you can start to pick up the scent of the beautyberry leaves. So once that you see that you have your beautyberry leaves good and crushed, the next step is simply to pour the rubbing alcohol over the crushed leaves. Then from there, you want to seal the jar good and tight and let it sit for 48 hours at room temperature. You can give it a shake once or twice a day. You'll see the alcohol taking on a greenish tint as it pulls the compounds from the leaves. For our purposes here though, I prepared a beautyberry extract concoction already, So you can watch me finish the process. After those 2 days, we want to strain this mixture out through a fine mesh strainer, or maybe even a coffee filter could work, into your spray bottle. And then if you really want to, you can press the leaves as much as you can to try and extract as much liquid as possible. So very simply here, you can probably start it just by funneling in. Ooh, there's a nice green color there. So, you know, strainer may or may not be necessary for you. It depends on how much you have in the mixture, just in case anything drops out. All right, I've emptied out the jar here into the spray bottle. This one might be a little bit large. It was really the only one I had on hand right now. But after this, you could add 2 drops of your favorite essential oil or body wash for scent. This is purely optional and it's not gonna affect the effectiveness of the repellent. Top back on, we're gonna store this in the refrigerator. This concentrated version will last 3 to 4 months, so make sure to label it clearly with the date that you made it. You can spray this on exposed skin and clothing before going outside. Now, avoid the eyes and the mouth, and you can reapply every 2 to 3 hours for continued protection. You might want to test it on a small skin area first if you might have sensitive skin. So now that we've covered making your own mosquito repellent, let's get back to talking about how you grow it. So the American Beautyberry is going to prefer shade to partial shade. I have it here under the canopy of one of our beautiful, very mature live oak trees. If you can, put it near natural moisture sources. So perhaps your gutter downspouts, an AC drip line, or areas where you can collect runoff, like we do here on the side of our driveway, which is at a down slope. The first year, these plants will need some regular, deep watering. In fact, they might look pretty sad in that first year, at least mine did. But now in year 3, they've been virtually maintenance-free as they've been in the right spot. I haven't watered them at all in the last year. And at their peak, again, these plants can reach maybe 8 feet in good conditions, 8 feet high and 8 feet wide. They can be very dense, full shrubs that will produce massive amounts of harvestable leaves, right? And eventually birds will start to plant new ones for you. But also propagating this plant from cuttings isn't too difficult either. And I discussed that in a previous video, which if you're interested, you should definitely check out. The American Beautyberry is also a wildlife magnet. Over 40 bird species eat these beautiful magenta berries here. Your yard becomes a wildlife habitat. The berries are also edible for humans too. They have a sort of light lemony flavor, which I've heard is good as a base for salad dressings. I haven't made it myself, or maybe most commonly made into jellies or jams. But of course, leave most for the birds. This is also a plant that will provide you with year-round interests. You have spring flowers, small, tiny, pink, beautiful flowers. The summer foliage here as the leaves start to expand and grow. Of course, the late summer, early fall berries. And then there's some winter structure too, although this is a deciduous shrub, so it will lose its leaves. So that will be mostly the angular branches and berries. If the birds haven't got to them, no leaves. Once established, the American Beautyberry requires virtually no care. You can prune it in late winter if desired. Sometimes you have crossing branches. I see a couple here on this plant as it's grown out. Dead branches, of course, here or there. Or if you'd like to keep it from intruding on other plantings or walkways, you can feel free to cut it back if you'd like. Our home landscapes in Texas can be so much more than we realize. American Beautyberry, of course, while fascinating, is just one plant. There's far greater, healthier, and more sustainable utility at our fingertips. It's all about the plants we choose to put in the ground. Learning about plants like this opens your mind to a whole other world. While yes, we want our landscapes to be beautiful, they can also be useful, practical, even medicinal. When we zoom in and study what's right in front of us, like Texas native plants like this one, we actually open and broaden the possibilities for what sort of world is possible for us. Solutions to common or maybe uncommon problems solved right outside our doors. And so instead of just buying pest control products, for example, we're growing them. And instead of just decorating our yards, we're creating habitat. Instead of fighting Texas conditions, we're working with them, with the plants that thrive here naturally. So if you're ready to explore what else is possible with Texas native plants, I have a free email series called 7 Things I'd Wish I'd Known Before Getting Started with Texas Native Plant Landscaping. You can find that at coreames.com/txnative or at the link in the description below. It covers the mindset shifts in plant selection strategies that actually work here. Grab that free email series. It's about changing how we think about our Texas landscapes entirely. All right, y'all, until next time.